How's it going, y'all? Today I'm going to be drinking a Jack and Coke for the first time, which as a whole I am very excited to do, as I've heard that Jack Daniels as a whiskey mixes and pairs very well with Coca-Cola as a soda. In fact, Jack and Cokes, I would have to say, are one of the most notable and instantly recognizable whiskey mixed drinks ever, I will acknowledge. They're up there with old fashions in my personal opinion. But having never tried a Jack and Coke before, I don't know how one is actually going to be. I tried Jack Daniels for the very first time a couple days ago, and personally, I think the taste of Jack Daniels is going to lend itself very well to pairing with Coca-Cola, but is a Jack and Coke actually going to be as good as I think it's going to be? Is a Jack and Coke actually going to be the good mixed drink that I've heard it is? I don't know, but I'm very excited to find out, and I'm very excited to drink some alcohol today, as I want to drink a little bit of alcohol on a warm summer day like today. Overall, am I looking forward to this experience, to drinking a Jack and Coke for the very first time? For a variety of different reasons, I most certainly am. I do suppose, without further ado, I should probably go ahead and showcase the specific bottle of Jack Daniels that I have with me today, and the specific can of Coca-Cola that I have with me today as well. And then after that, I'm thinking I should probably go ahead and pour some Jack Daniels in the glass I have with me, pour some Coke over top, and then I should probably take a sip and actually get to drinking a Jack Daniels for the very first time now, shouldn't I? So, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about what specific bottle of Jack Daniels I have with me today. I know Jack and Cokes can be made with, well, any Jack Daniels, of course, flavored or not, but what I have for this video today is the classic, the iconic, the standard Jack Daniels No. 7 Tennessee Whiskey. This is the standard variety of Jack Daniels, and I want to make a standard, well, Jack and Coke today, and so as such, that is exactly what I'm making during this video. As far as my Coca-Cola goes, I have a can of just normal American Coca-Cola. Didn't go for Coke Zero, didn't go for caffeine-free Coca-Cola or Diet Coca-Cola or anything like that. I want a standard Jack and Coke, and I think using this standard American Coca-Cola is gonna be the way to go. As such, that's exactly what I bought at the local store just about an hour ago now before this video. Well, I do suppose, without further ado, now that I've talked about the ingredients I have with me today in specific, I should probably go ahead and make up my first Jack and Coke now, shouldn't I? So, without further ado, let's put my sunglasses back on, as it's a bit bright out here, and let's go ahead and get my nice, crisp, cold bottle of Jack Daniels all opened up. And let's pour myself a little bit of a glass of some Jack. Now, how much do I want? I think I'm going to go up to right about where my finger is tapping on the glass right there. I think that should be about right for what I want for my first Jack and Coke. So I think that much should probably do. And then I'm just going to top off the rest of the glass with some Coca-Cola, I think is the plan. That's probably about like one standard shot. So this will be about one standard drink if I had to hazard a guess. And I'm thinking that should be a pretty good sort of area of alcohol for what I want for my first drink. I don't want to get too buzzed off my first drink. I don't want to have too much alcohol in my first Jack and Coke by any means. If I think I can pour more alcohol in, maybe I'll pour more for the next one if I have enough Coca-Cola left over. But for the first one, I'm being careful. I'm being careful. This is a very scientific experiment today, after all, and I don't want to overdo it with the first one and get too buzzed by any means. Let's go ahead and crack open my Coca-Cola now, if I possibly can, just like that. And let's go ahead and pour that over top of the Jack Daniels I have in my glass. There we go, there we go. Very nice, very nice. Ooh, fizzing just a little bit. Nothing too much though. All right, and I'm thinking I'm gonna leave it at that. I think I should have enough Coca-Cola in the can for hopefully another drink. We'll find out, but let's go ahead and smell this before I take a sip real quick. Overall, I'm definitely smelling whiskey. I'm definitely smelling Coca-Cola as well. Now, I did catch a cold about a day ago, I'll acknowledge. So I've had a cold for like the last day, I will admit. So my sense of smell is not the greatest right now by any means. But the smell I'm getting, I would have to say, is that of a brown sugar, caramel, Slightly sweet, slightly vanilla, creamy sort of smell kind of thing, like vanilla cream, I would say. And then, like, there's definitely a little bit of a sort of alcohol smell in there as well, just like straight alcohol kind of thing. You can definitely tell this Jack and Coke does have some Jack Daniels in it. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a sip of my first ever Jack and Coke, and let's go ahead and get to drinking. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying, It's easy to see why Jack and Cokes are so iconic. I will acknowledge. Like, in my opinion, Jack Daniels as a straight whiskey to drink is nothing crazy kind of thing. It's nothing insane by any means. But the flavor profile is definitely very different from what I'm personally used to drinking when it comes down to whiskey and bourbons and stuff like that kind of thing. And that different flavor, while it doesn't have a lot of depth when you sip it straight, it does kind of lend itself to being paired with something that tastes like Coca-Cola. No, this is really nice. This is very solid. I was totally expecting there to be, I'll admit, maybe a little bit too much alcohol in my first ever Jack and Coke. I was afraid maybe I added a little bit too much, I'll acknowledge. And while you can definitely tell there is whiskey in there, there is Jack Daniels in there, there's a little bit of alcohol in there for sure, it's not overwhelming. In my opinion, something like, let's say, if I had added that much of something like, let's say, Maker's Mark, or let's say the Evan Williams Bottled and Bond, it would be a little bit more prominent of a flavor, in my opinion, kind of thing. But the Jack Daniels, really, frankly put, it just really easily disappears into the flavor of the Coca-Cola. Not entirely, don't get me wrong, the Jack Daniels definitely does change the flavor of the drink just a little bit. It doesn't entirely taste doesn't entirely taste like Coca-Cola by any means. Just got my words a little bit jumbled up. But no, this is solid. And man, that breeze feels so nice. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. It's like almost 90 degrees out here right now with like 80% humidity. It's not like the warmest it's ever been, but it's warmer than not. And I'm glad to be getting a little bit of a breeze while I'm drinking, I will acknowledge. Yeah, no, this is really nice. This is really solid. Do I think a Jack and Coke is a solid mixed drink, just right off the bat, initially, having not even finished my first drink yet? Yes, I do. Yeah, no, it's a very solid mixed drink. I haven't even really tried to pay attention to like the undertones of the flavor yet, or anything like that, which I will be doing. But nonetheless, it's a solid mixed drink. Yeah, the Jack Daniels, it's just gone in the flavor of the Coca-Cola kind of thing. No, that is quite nice, I gotta admit. And I am already starting to get just a little bit of a light buzz. Just a little bit of a light buzz. Nothing too crazy by any means, but a nice light buzz nonetheless. Excuse me. Absolutely no complaints. Excuse me. Just had a little bit of a burp. Let's go ahead and take another sip. So, what is the flavor of a Jack and Coke like? Well, of course, I'm sure everybody's personal recipe for a Jack and Coke is gonna be different. I've heard some people, I think, use lime in theirs to make it more like a Cuba Libre / a rum and Coke. I've heard some people use different add-ons, different varieties of Coca-Cola, different varieties of Jack Daniel for their Jack and Cokes. I've made a very standard, just right on the line, just control. To put it in a scientific wording, I have a control spec, a National Institute of Standards and Technology spec Jack and Coke with me today, essentially. Thankfully, though, unlike stuff from the NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, this Jack and Coke did not cost me $500. some of the stuff from the NIST is a bit pricey, I'll acknowledge. I do kind of want to buy, like, do they sell standard alcohol from the NIST? Like, probably like a standard, like, isopronyl alcohol or something like that kind of thing. Or like standard, like, cleaning alcohol for like wounds or something like that. But do they sell like standard whiskey or like standard rum? Does the NIST have, National Institute of Standards and Technology, standardized rums and whiskeys and stuff like that? That would actually be like really amusing if they do. I don't think they do though. Maybe they do. I've never looked, honestly. That's something I need to look. I know they have cigarettes for like testing with like flammable stuff. So like you drop it on a couch or something like that. Is the couch gonna burst in flames? And then they also have one for like tar testing measures, for like tar testing machines and everything like that kind of thing. So they do sell standard cigarettes through the NIST, but do they sell standardized alcohol? That I don't know, but honestly, I kind of want to know now. Even if they do sell standardized alcohol, I don't even know if it would be drinkable. Like, if they do sell standardized alcohol, it's probably going to be like 250 proof or something crazy like that. Like, that's 150% alcohol. How is that 100? No, that's 125% alcohol, not 150. How would something be 125% of something? I don't know. But my bloodstream is not currently like 125% alcohol, but it certainly has been before. People be talking about a 0.08 blood alcohol level. How about 125%, baby? That's what I'm talking about. The entirety of my blood flowing through my veins is alcohol and nicotine and caffeine and protein. That as well. Got to stay healthy, of course. I completely forgot to taste about that. I'm already getting a buzz. Wow, yeah, no, this is getting me good. That was really nice. I am already getting a buzz, like, genuinely. I completely forgot to talk about the flavor of a Jack and Coke with that last drink, I will admit. Flavor-wise, it's interesting because, like, in my opinion, when drank straight, Coca-Cola can have kind of a sharpness to it. And Jack Daniels, of course, as it's an alcohol, can have kind of a sharpness to it. But when combined together, that sharpness just completely disappears. I will have to try to determine the flavor of Jack and Coke, I think, with the next drink I make. Because, well, I finished off my first drink. I don't have anything to sip on right now, and I should probably get myself another drink ready to sip if I had to hazard a guess. But the taste overall for my first ever Jack and Coke, was it good? It was fantastic. It wasn't just good, it was fantastic. And I see all the hype around Jack Daniels and Coca-Cola. And now I know what it's all about, frankly put. I wasn't sure if this was going to be as good as people had said. I mean, like, I've tried a couple different whiskey Cokes before. I enjoy my whiskey and Coca-Cola. But man, a Jack and Coke? It is probably the best whiskey pairing I have ever had with Coca-Cola. Like, no question. No question. Jack Daniels is the best pairing with Coca-Cola I've ever had from a whiskey. They're very solid. Let me just put it that way. The Jack and Cokes are very solid. I'm buzzed. I'm gonna go and get myself another drink mixed up, I do think. But yeah, I want another drink, so I'm gonna have another drink. I'm buzzed already. I think the cold might definitely low-key be making the alcohol hit a little bit harder than it would otherwise be hitting. But it is hitting, let me tell y'all what. And I think I'm gonna go with a little bit less alcohol for this second drink, because I don't know how much Coca-Cola I have left in my can. If I had a bottle, I'd know because it's clear, but a can, that's not very clear now, is it? So, I'm just gonna go with this much for my next drink. Oh man, I had plenty. I had way more than I thought. Well, no biggie, no biggie. And before I go ahead and take a sip of my next Jack and Coke, I'm gonna go ahead, put on my hat real quick. I'll take it off in just a moment. But I'm grabbing something out of my backpack, so I need to put on my hat real quick so I can get into my backpack. You know, got the drip on, you know what I'm saying? Got the brain dead hat on from LA. No complaints on my behalf. Goes very hard, works very well. on a warm day like today where it's very sunny. So I've been wearing that while walking around in the sun and whatnot kind of thing. It has worked amazingly, absolutely no complaints on my behalf. I'm gonna have one of these. So I'm gonna go and get that going before I get back to drinking. Because, you know, what better way to exemplify the buzz I already have than by having more alcohol and by having one of these. That's what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Whew. Man, oh man. And that breeze, there's a breeze coming up behind me. Man, that feels so nice. It is nice out here. Like, definitely, like, coming over here, like, my car ain't got no AC. And I was just like, man, it's warm. It's very warm. And it's humid kind of thing. But, like, sitting back, enjoying a drink, having one of these, having a nice breeze on my back. No, this is really nice. This is really nice. Just chilling at the park right now, enjoying my second ever Jack and Coke, I say, as I haven't even taken a sip of it yet. Let's go ahead and do that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? That's nice. Ooh, yeah, no, that's good. That's good. A little bit less alcohol-y than the first one, for sure. I added less alcohol after all, but a very solid drink nonetheless. Basically, what I'm trying to say, though, is that while it is a bit warm, it is a bit humid out here, you know, the weather ain't gonna stop me from enjoying my my mixed drinks, that is for sure. And I just realized I need to get a thumbnail for the video before I drink too much of my my second Jack and Coke. I should probably get a thumbnail for the video. So how do I want to do this? I just lit this, so it's not like I want to put it on the ground. I don't want to cause any forest fires or anything like that, but I could stub it out. I could do that. I might do that. I could also just put it on like the side of my cooler, because I have a cooler next to me, and I think I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna make sure my leg doesn't like flip over and like hit that, because I don't want to burn my leg. I've burned my leg with one before, and it hurts like hell. It is not a pleasant experience, so I don't want to do that ever again. Let's grab myself a little bit of a thumbnail. You know, gotta go for the Mr. Beast thumbnail. Gotta do it, you know what I'm saying? Excuse me. And do I want to try to grab a thumbnail with my actual Jack and Coke as well? I don't know how I'm gonna hold both of these with one hand. I think we're good. I'm not gonna try to hold both my Jack Daniels and my Coca-Cola with one hand. I feel like I'm just gonna end up dropping one of them and spilling my Coca-Cola and possibly Jack Daniels everywhere if the bottle breaks. And I prefer not to do that, as the bottle of Jack Daniels I have with me today cost me $28.95, which is massively too expensive for what Jack Daniels is, in my personal opinion, as a whiskey to drink straight at least. I still kind of think it's too much for a mixing whiskey as well, but it does pair very well with Coca-Cola. Glad to have grabbed myself a little bit of a thumbnail, though. What is the flavor of a Jack and Coke like? It's interesting because, I mean, like, in my opinion, there's certain alcohols and certain whiskeys, let's say in specific, that pair very well with specific sodas, in my opinion, like, let's say, Maker's Mark and Evan Williams Bottled and Bond pair very well with Dr. Pepper, for example. That's my favorite whiskey soda mixed drink as of this moment in time. But a Jack and Coke I don't think it's going to dethrone it, but it's going to be like a very close second. I love my Dr. Pepper just so much. But those whiskeys with Dr. Pepper, I mean, like, you can definitely still taste a little bit of the whiskey in there kind of thing. Like, yes, for sure, the Dr. Pepper with a Maker's Mark or an Evan Williams Bottled and Bond, it covers up the flavor a lot more so than not. It smooths out the whiskey by all means, but the whiskey flavor is still a little bit prominent. You can tell, okay, here's the flavor from the Dr. Pepper and here's the flavor from the whiskey, to an extent, more so than not. At least when compared to a Jack and Coke. Let me put it that way, because with a Jack and Coke, I know what the flavor of Coca-Cola is. I know what the flavor of Jack Daniels is. But the taste just combines together so well and makes something honestly different than what I would expect, that it's honestly just kind of like, wait, what? What do you mean the flavors pair that well together kind of thing? And that's just kind of not what I was expecting, in all honesty. So I would have to say I'm getting, and it's really hard to say what flavor is coming from the Coca-Cola and what flavor is coming from the Jack Daniels, because in my opinion, Jack Daniels has Coca-Cola-like flavors to it, and Coca-Cola has some Jack Daniel-like flavors to it kind of thing. So it's kind of hard to tell what is coming from what specific ingredient. But the overall flavor I'm getting from a Jack and Coke, in my opinion, is very much that of a sweet brown sugar, molasses, caramel, vanilla, slightly alcohol flavor with maybe, It's really hard to tell. I mean, like, that's overall kind of what the flavor is like, more so than not. But the flavors combine together so well that it really is difficult to really distinguish which flavors are coming from where, kind of thing. I'm sure that's not helped by the fact that for the second drink, I definitely did add less Jack Daniels. But either way, that fact of the matter still remains, kind of thing. Man, where'd my breeze go, though? It's so still out here now. And man, the moment the breeze went away, I started to sweat. It is warm out here. Let me tell y'all what, and the humidity ain't helping. My goodness. I mean, like, dry heat, I can deal with dry heat so well, I'll acknowledge. Like, my face might dry out, the inside of my nose might dry out, and my skin might crack, and I might turn into dust. But at least I'm not sweating. Whereas here, with all the humidity, it's like, okay, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's sweat. Humidity really do be like that, I'm not gonna lie. Humidity really do be like that. But I can definitely say I'm buzzed. I'm feeling good right now. Yeah, Jack and Cokes, they get you pretty good. They get you pretty good. No better than like a normal whiskey and Coke kind of thing. But they do get you pretty good, especially when you have a light cold. I do have a light cold right now, and so it's definitely getting me pretty good. I also haven't had any alcohol for the last day, so I'm sure that's helping as well. And definitely as I get towards the bottom, I'm noticing a little bit more Jack Daniels, just straight Jack Daniels flavor. Okay. I'd have to say, if anything is being added by the Jack Daniels, and I'm just trying to remember the specific flavor of Jack Daniels that I got when I first tried Jack Daniels, drank it straight, trying to remember the exact flavor profiles, but it's not really coming to mind with like exact measurements of flavor profile right now. But I feel like there's a little bit of an orange flavor in there. I feel like there's a little bit of an orange flavor in the Jack and Coke. Excuse me. And that orange flavor pairs very nicely with the Coca-Cola. I don't know if you'd think it would, but it does. And I feel like that flavor is the most distinguishable flavor that is absolutely no question in my mind coming from the Jack Daniels kind of thing. Definitely, like, let's say the vanilla, the brown sugar, the molasses, the caramel flavors, all of those, in my opinion, are coming from both the Coca-Cola and partially the Jack Daniels. But there's that little bit of an orange, sort of slightly tangerine flavor, I suppose, and I think that might be coming from the Jack Daniels. Did I notice that flavor when I tried Jack Daniels for the first time? I can't remember if I did. I'm pretty sure I did, but I can't say for certain. But I'm noticing that flavor now. Is it just me thinking I'm noticing that flavor, or is it actually there? Sometimes that'll happen where I think I notice a flavor, but then it's not actually there, and then I confuse myself. And I'm trying to think if that's what's going on right now. I think rather than that flavor coming from... Oh, okay, that's interesting. I think rather than that sort of tangerine orange flavor coming from the Jack Daniels itself in specific, and I do think that's happening a little bit, but I think it's kind of the combination of the brown sugar, the caramel, the molasses, and that sort of alcohol flavor in there, kind of making a sort of orange flavor, interestingly enough. What? I don't know, maybe I'm just imagining that, but... Huh. Well, in my opinion, the flavor of a Jack and Coke is, without a doubt, that of a sweet flavor. It's a very sweet flavor, no question, as overtones go kind of thing. It's very sweet. There's a little bit of a savoriness in there as well kind of thing, but it is mainly a sweet, slightly alcohol-y flavor, for sure. And in my opinion, as far as specific flavor undertones go, you start off, and this is going in order of most prevalent to least prevalent. In my opinion, you start off with the flavor of, I would say, brown sugar, molasses, caramel, and then under that, you get a little bit of alcohol, and you get a little bit of a sort of orange tangerine flavor, in my opinion. And then under that, you get a little bit of a vanilla cream flavor kind of thing. Not like a milky flavor, just like vanilla cream kind of thing. And is there anything else that I'm thinking of? Any other flavor in there? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that's really all that's going on. Excuse me. As far as a Jack and Coke goes, I haven't noticed the Jack Daniels flavor developing all that much, besides me just noticing more as I continue drinking, as one would expect. I haven't noticed any sort of flavor change, besides just me noticing more as I continue drinking, which is what one would expect, of course. As your taste buds get used to something, they notice more and more and more and more, and that's very much what happened today. Definitely, though, Jack and Coke, it's a very solid mixed drink. Nothing crazy, nothing that's going to make you go, wow, that keeps me super interested all the way through. The flavor just keeps changing. Wow, that's insane. No, that's not what a Jack and Coke is. That's not what Jack Daniels is, a liquor when you drink it straight, and that's not what a Jack and Coke is. A Jack and Coke is a very simple, well-rounded, nice tasting, easy to make, mixed drink that, in my opinion, is well worth making. Yeah, Jack and Cokes, they're really solid. They're really solid. I really have enjoyed this experience today. And I gotta admit, I'm a fan of my rum and Cokes. I really like my rum and Cokes. I'm afraid to say, I think a Jack and Coke, I might actually prefer it over a rum and Coke. At least without lime. At least without lime. Let me put it that way. A rum and Coke with lime, that's kind of hard to beat. But if I'm not using lime in a rum and Coke, I think I'd much rather have a Jack and Coke, honestly. And that is a very high bar for me, because I love my rum and Cokes. Now I'm stubbing this out right now. The ground underneath me is very dry. It's been raining in my local area more than it was previously, but still not raining that much, so it's still pretty dry out here. We're going through a little bit of a drought in my local area these days, so I'm trying to be very careful to make sure I don't cause no field fires or anything like that. But thankfully, got everything out successfully. I don't want to be fighting Smokey the Bear out here in the field. I don't have a .357 Magnum revolver with me today, so I think it would be pretty hard to beat Smokey the Bear. I mean, like, dude's like 7'9" kind of thing. And I mean, like, I think bro packs a little bit more of a punch than I may. I don't do WWE, I don't do cage fighting or anything like that kind of thing, so I really don't think I could beat Smokey the Bear in a bare-fisted fight. I will acknowledge I would have to have an advantage to beat him in a fight. So yeah, I'm very glad that I did not accidentally cause a field fire today. I have fought a bear before, but I did have a .357 Magnum revolver on me, and that was the only reason I survived that encounter, frankly put. I got a scar right here on my face due to that experience. I got scratched by the bear claw, but you know, battle scars, only Big Balla moves, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Only Big Balla moves. But yeah, if I was gonna fight Smokey the Bear, I definitely want a .357 Magnum with me, no question. So I'm very glad that what I just stubbed out did not cause any forest fires, that's for sure. But I've got a little bit more of my Coca-Cola left. I'm gonna go and finish off my Coca-Cola, and I think this is definitely a useful thing to do. Have a little bit of just normal Coca-Cola after having some Jack and Coke, finish off my drink, make sure I get my money's worth, and also just see what the flavor of normal Coca-Cola is like in comparison to a Jack and Coke. Yeah, definitely, in my opinion, Coca-Cola kind of has an edge to it, in my opinion. It kind of has a very slight, sharp edge to it. And you would totally expect that sharp edge to shine through with a Jack and Coke as well. You'd totally think you'd get a sharp edge from the Jack Daniels and from the Coca-Cola in a Jack and Coke. But that is not how it works at all, to my personal surprise, I'll acknowledge. Somehow, a Jack and Coke not only smooths out the Jack Daniels, but also smooths out the Coca-Cola kind of thing. And in my opinion, the Jack Daniels definitely adds a little bit, I don't know if it adds, but it at least makes the sort of vanilla flavor in the Coca-Cola more prevalent, oddly enough as well, kind of thing. The Coca-Cola, I mean, like brown sugar, molasses, caramel, a little bit of vanilla for sure, but the flavor prevalencies are different in the Coca-Cola. So definitely, I mean, like a Jack and Coke, you're not just getting the flavor of Coca-Cola. While Jack Daniels and Coca-Cola do combine together insanely well, almost making you think that they were meant to be together, frankly put. Oh my God, they pair together so well. They do nonetheless change the original factors of themselves, kind of thing, by mixing together, as one would think. But how they mix together is kind of odd, because they mix together just that well. Yeah, wow. I see why Jack and Cokes are such a notable and recognizable and popular mixed drink. I will acknowledge, I absolutely see why. It's very easy to see why after having tried a Jack and Coke for the very first time today. They're super smooth. They mix together very well. And don't get me wrong, there's not really that much flavor intricacy, but the flavor that is there is really nice. And overall, a Jack and Coke is a very solid, well-rounded mixed drink that is just really dang good, frankly put. As far as mixed drinks goes, what is my rating for a Jack and Coke? I'm gonna have to give it a solid 9 out of 10. I think a Jack and Coke deserves a 9 out of 10 rating as far as mixed drinks go. That's like the same rating I would give a rum and Coke with lime, and a rum and Coke without lime, I would give like an 8 out of 10 kind of thing. A whiskey and Dr. Pepper, don't get me wrong, I think I prefer it a little bit more over a Jack and Coke, I'll acknowledge, but that's a 9 out of 10 as well kind of thing. A Jack and Coke really is on the up and up and up of my mixed drink scale. Yeah, no, really solid mixed drink. I'll admit, not something I would want to drink like all the time in like super hot weather. It's a bit warm for a Jack and Coke. I do personally think it's kind of a heavy drink, in my opinion. Coca-Cola is a bit of a heavy soda, and when combining that with Jack Daniels, it just gets even more heavy in my personal opinion. So something in this weather, more to my preference, would be like, let's say, a vodka Sprite or something like that, or a vodka lemonade, for example. Just something a little bit lighter on the stomach, in my personal opinion. But nonetheless, I do think a Jack and Coke is solid to have in cold to warm weather, if not slightly hot weather. It's just not something I'd want to have by the pool on a 100-degree day by any means. I think it might be a bit much in that circumstance. But overall, yeah, Jack and Coke, 9 out of 10. Really liked it, really enjoyable. Absolutely no complaints on my behalf, and absolutely a mixed drink that I'm going to be having to enjoy a lot more in the future. And I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video today. If you guys have enjoyed watching this video, of course, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out the sponsor of this video today, which just so happens to be me, as my new poetry book, Poems to Read While Smoking Cigarettes, is out and available now. The poems within my new poetry book, Poems to Read While Smoking Cigarettes, they're not good poems by any means, but they are good poems to read while smoking cigarettes. And if you guys would like to read my new poetry book, Poems to Read While Smoking Cigarettes, you can find the links to, well, my new poetry book in the description and comments down below. Make sure to go check it out if y'all are interested, and also make sure to have a great rest of y'all's day. What do y'all think of Jack and Cokes? Let me know in the comments below, and I think that's just about all I had to say. So until the next one, stay safe and peace, and have a great one.